So during the baseball season, we like to check in on the state of the Mets and Yankees baseball, pitching sometimes, even though New York baseball hasn't gone the way that some have hoped this season. We're going to talk some pitching with the best at breaking it down. He's the founder of Pitcherless. It's my guy, Nick Pollack. Nick, what's going on, man?
What is happening? It's great to be back here again with you.
I'm always glad to talk some baseball, specifically some pitching with you. And Nick, we're going to start with the Yankees pitching, okay? Luis Severino, he's admitted that this is the worst season of his career. The numbers are terrible. Nestor Cortes, he might be done for the season. Can the Yanks trust their rotation as is to get them to the postseason? And do you think there are any young arms that you believe in that can step up?
I mean, all right, you know the answer to this. No. This is a really, really rough time for the Yankees. Garrett Cole is fantastic, and maybe we can see something like a Bumgarner-esque postseason where he just gets pushed all the way to the limit if they actually make it to the playoffs in the first place. I mean, that's already an assumption in the first place, but without Severino having any sort of secondary command, or actually not even command, just being ineffective and nothing like the slider and changeup we used to see. You have Clark Schmidt as the Yankee number 2 right now, which has been great kind of for the last 8 weeks or so, but overall in the season, it's a well over 4 ERA. The whip is bad. He doesn't really have that thump or that real firepower in his arsenal to be a proper number 2, especially playoff time. He's not a guy that goes like 6-7 when you really call on him. And then you have Johnny Brito showing up. You have Randy Vasquez. These are not stalwarts. These are not potential exciting prospects. They are guys that you hope for 5 innings of limiting the damage and then hopefully going to the pen. Now, the Yankees do have a fantastic bullpen, and those guys might be just enough to keep them in the game, but then that would put way too much pressure on the offense for the Yankees, and it just is not a match made in heaven. The Yankees were supposed to have Rodon, they were supposed to have Cortez, and it's just not looking that way for the Yankees.
All right, Nick, not hopeful for the Yankees about their pitching staff, and can any of these young pitchers actually help them get to the playoffs? Let's move on to the Mets, because with all the trades that the Mets made at the deadline, Kodai Senga is effectively now the team's ace. What have you made of Senga's 2023 season, and what do you believe his upside is going forward?
Sure. It's been amazing to see the strikeouts tally out for Kodai Senga this year. He has one of the best strikeout rates in the majors. Obviously, that ghost fork that we talked about a lot this year, and of course in the offseason, has been a major part of that. But what I've really liked from Senga this year is actually the cutter's been a really effective pitch for him. And even though he's throwing upper 90s with that four-seamer, it's not really that dominant. The slider is okay. But as long as Senga has that good foundation in his cutter, it's allowing him to still get through games when the ghost fork isn't being the massive whiff pitch that we've seen in the past. It's really nice to see Senga have another option that he can rely on from start to start in that cutter, and maybe over time that four-seamer can be spotted a little bit better. The sweeper could be more of an effective pitch through the offseason, and that ghost fork does look like it's here to stay moving forward. So the Mets have found a really good one in Senga when they don't really have much else here.
Yeah, not much else for the Mets pitching staff right now, and as they go beyond, we'll see how that goes. But Senga looks like a good piece right now. Speaking of going beyond, of the 2 New York teams, as we look beyond 2023, which pitching staff, in your eyes, needs the most help?
This is, oh man. I mean, I remember in the beginning of the year, we're like, what is,
I remember.
One of these guys the best rotations out there, right? Are these amazing? And we're at such a crazy state. What do the Mets have to look forward to with that rotation right now? Carlos Carrasco is not something to rely on. Tyler McGill needs to do more with his secondaries. Even though he's back to 96, it's not enough at the moment. David Peterson used to have an exciting slider, and he doesn't really anymore. The prospects that they have, you know, what's interesting is that they had this guy named Winans, and then they lost him in the Rule 5 draft, and he just tossed 7 amazing innings against them yesterday on Atlanta. It's not looking great for the Mets for the future. Now, Jose Quintana, though, that used to look like a bust for them. Actually, not so much. His command is back. He looked phenomenal against Atlanta. There still needs to, a lot of work needs to be done for the Mets. On the Yankee side, they just need health. That is still a very good rotation for 2024 with Carlos Rodon. Expected to be much better, in my view, for next year. Nestor Cortes hopefully being okay from the rotator cuff stuff. Obviously, Garrett Cole is absolutely the best pitcher in town. So if they have one more extra arm that they can get in the offseason, the Yankees will look very good from a pitching standpoint. Then the Mets have a lot of work to do.
All right, Mets with a lot of work to do. Yankees are optimistic about the future if those pitchers can be healthy in that starting rotation. That is Nick Pollack, founder of Pitcherless, always good at breaking it down about the pitching around the league and particularly here in New York. Nick, thank you for the time. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.